2, 1, go!
There you go, I hope you enjoyed our PJ Masks Anki Overdrive race. You've got our Anki cards at the back and our PG Mask racers at the front. And I think Catboy, Gekko and Owlette all did really well. But what we thought we'd like to do to show you was how we made our custom Anki Overdrive PJ Mask racing cars with our characters here and our cars at the back. Now I don't know if you've seen on the channel, we like Anki Overdrive and we've got a nice collection of their cars there, but what we wanted to do was to find the perfect car for Catboy and Gekko and Owlette. So first of all we decided which car would suit which character. So if we start with Gekko, we've got our Gekko toy here. Of course you can see he can be articulated, we can twist his head and his legs. It's all very nice, but which car do you think, whoops, can you stand up Gekko? It's a bit wobbly. Which car do you think would suit him best? Now, quite quickly we realised we wanted to match the colour, and Gekko's colour matches most closely to Nuke. Now, also, really nice on Nuke, he has got a reptile, sort of lizard skin on this car that's been designed for Anki Overdrive. So that matches Gekko really nicely with Gekko's sort of lizard skin and Nuke's lizard skin as well. So those two went together really nicely. And what we did next, we took Gekko, we separated his body from his legs and kept hold of that, which meant we had him in this stage. So there's no legs on him, but it means that he can sit on top of the car a little bit. It's a bit wobbly, so what we did was to pop some blue tack on the bottom there, so that he would stick onto the car like this. So if we pop him on here, you can see how it starts to come together. So there's Gekko. Pop his arms down, you can sort of see it looks like he's driving. But the next thing we wanted to do was to cover up the bit of the blue tack join that you have there, where Gekko's sort of tummy meets the car. So we cut ourselves out a little bit of green card. So we've got that here, you can see here, and all we had to do was to pop it around the front of Gekko. If we pop Gekko's arms up, we can see how that works. It's a bit fiddly, but it's worth the effort, because once you've got it round, you can get it to hide all of that blue tack, so it looks like Gekko is part of the Anki Overdrive car. Get a bit of a press. So hopefully you can see there, Gekko's looking more like the part. We can put your arms back down now, Gekko. And he looks like he's racing the car. But one thing we also wanted to do at the back was to make use of Gekko's tail. So separating his body from the rest of him meant that we ended up with this little tail. And again, we put a ring of card and paper around so that the join wasn't too obvious. And we could pop the tail on the back of Nuke, just like this. So you have Gekko at the front, and if you spot round, he's got his little tail wagging away at the back. So that was Gekko. That was our first racer. Our next challenge was to work out who should be Catboy. Now we had a choice here. We could have used Guardian, or we could have used Ground Shock. Now I liked Guardian, but I think the colours didn't quite match Catboy, and also the design is a little bit different to Catboy. Whereas Ground Shock actually has already got Catboy's lightning on the wheels. He's got the lightning strikes on the top. We've got Catboy's lightning as well. So in terms of matching, it's almost as if these figures and characters and cars were made for each other. So we're going to use Ground Shock with Catboy, and again we just separated Catboy, his legs from his torso, and that meant we could pop him on the car like we did with Gekko. Whoop. And again, to hide this little bit, the bit of blue tack there, it doesn't look so good, does it? So we've just got our little bit of blue tacked card, which we can wrap around. If you can see, goes nicely around, and sort of tidying up. Catboy starts to look like a real Catboy racer. Pop his arms down, and of course he hasn't got anything on the back. Catboy's tail, which is a classic part of the Catboy experience. So again, with a bit of blue tack and a bit of tail, and he's got his little waggy tail at the back. So then you've got Catboy, the Catboy racer, and of course he's got his tail. So there's Catboy and Gekko, and I think they look really nice. We'll pop them here. Then finally we had Owlette, of course. Here's our Owlette figure. Really nice. Can't wait for these toys to be out in shops. I think they're coming out it's October. So there you go. And really the only red car we've got for Anki Overdrive is Thermo. Now it doesn't match quite as well as the others, but I think the sort of the shading and the swiftness of the car and the sort of the angles matches the sort of swoop of Owlette's hood of her mask. So again, we separated Owlette from her feet, and then we could pop her on the top of the car like this. Now I liked this about Owlette because she comes obviously with her cape. So the cape extends to the back of Thermo and makes the whole car and her look like she's really zooming along. And again, we used a bit of card just to mask off that. So if we move these other Anki Overdrive cars out of the way, we can have a look at Catboy and Owlette in all their finery. So I think that works pretty well, and by paying attention to the design of the characters and also how they look and how the cars look, you can see at the back there the two tails of Catboy and Gekko. I think we've got a really nice effect for our racing, and then getting them moving on the track, we had so much fun. It's really interesting to see which was the fastest, which was the slowest, and Gekko did seem to be pretty fast, but both Catboy and Owlette were very good at coming around behind and either knocking him off at the crossroads. Do you see that happen a couple of times? Or sort of using some of the chicane bits of the track to come up behind and overtake. So there you go. This is our look at the PJ Masks toys. If I'm getting really close, you get a really good impression. Just pop the camera off the tripod here. We're going to go right down so you can see super close at what Catboy looks like. His Catboy face. And if we go around the side here, you can see what's at the back. Of course it's a Catboy tail. And again, he's got his lightning strikes on the car there. So there you go, that's our finished Catboy. If we come across to Gekko, it's looking over this way, a little cheeky Gekko grin. And again, you've got the Gekko lizard hexagon style there, and it sort of matches the lizard pattern on his head. And if we go around here, pop around, you can see Gekko's little Gekko tail at the back. And finally, of course, we've got Owlette, very smiley, and she is on Thermo. Sort of jaunty angle at the moment. And again, you can see her cloak at the back, giving her that sort of swooped look. So there you go, we had a lot of fun customising our Anki Overdrive cars for PJ Masks and racing them. I hope you enjoyed that video. What we'd like to know is, what are you going to do with your PJ Masks toys when you get them? What do you like to do to play with them? Will you combine them with Lego? Will you mix up the different stories of cartoons? Or will you just sort of keep them on the shelf as a sort of pristine collection? Do subscribe to the channel, because we'll have a lot more races. We've got some time trials coming up for our Anki Overdrive races. And do let us know in the comments what you'll be doing. What's your favourite? What's your favourite PJ Masks character? Is it Catboy of these three? Is it Gekko, or is it Owlette? We're going to come back and we're going to choose some cars to take the villains to the races with Anki Overdrive. So that's all we've got time for now, but we will be in the comments just as soon as this video goes live.